Namaste, good day, and very warm welcome to all of you who have joined here for the 7th edition of the International Day of Yoga 2021. I am Khemchand B. Gupta, yoga teacher at Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Indian Culture Center. On behalf of the High Commission of India, Kuala Lumpur, would like to take this opportunity to especially thanks ISA Foundation Malaysia, Gopio Malaysia, Heartfulness, Malaysian Indian Youth Council, Ayush Center, Atma Seva Ashram, Malaysia Yoga Wellness, Bharat Club, Sahaj Yoga, and Marwari Yuva Manch for taking part of this year's virtual celebrations. We will begin today's program with a special address from His Excellency Sri Mridul Kumar, High Commission of India to Malaysia.
A very good day to everyone. On behalf of the Indian High Commission and on behalf of the Indian Cultural Center in Kuala Lumpur, I bring greetings and warm wishes to our yoga friends in Malaysia and in India on the occasion of the International Day of Yoga 2021. Like in the past years, we will be celebrating International Day of Yoga with our partner organizations, with Tamil schools, with Gopio, and other like-minded organizations in a very befitting manner. Dear friends, you will recall that it was the Government of India under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi that took this proposal of declaring 21st June as the International Day of Yoga by the United Nations. Through the efforts of Government of India, the UN decided to celebrate 21st June as the International Day of Yoga, and in 2015 it was the first time that this event was done. Since then, it is the 7th year in running. The popularity of yoga, the number of people who have joined this wonderful practice has increased by many folds. Yoga has become the theme of the day, and we are thankful to the Ministry of Ayush, to our Honorable Prime Minister, and to the Government of India for bringing such large awareness about the benefits of yoga to the humanity. The composite mind, body, soul spectrum that it deals with and it enhances brings the benefit of yoga to the entire people worldwide. In these times of pandemic, yoga assumes a great relevance. When we are unable to connect with each other in a one-on-one manner, and when we are confined within the four walls of our house, it is yoga that provides us mental solace, that provides us the happiness of spirituality, and that also keeps us fit physically. With these words, I wish you all a very happy International Day of Yoga, and I hope and pray that the practice of yoga brings health, happiness, peace, and comfort in our lives. May we pray for collective healing. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashte bhuk bhag bhagvet. I thank you.
Hi everyone. First of all, let me express my sincere gratitude to the High Commission of India, especially His Excellency Sri Mridul Kumar ji and Sri Gupta ji for giving me an opportunity to share this information regarding this topic. Today's topic, which I'm going to share, is the importance of diet in yoga and Ayurveda perspectives. If you look at the system, both yoga is a big science, Ayurveda is another science. Yoga is a way of life, Ayurveda is also a way of life. Both are sister science. You can see explanation of yoga in Ayurveda. Ayurveda itself is a system which was codified more than 5,000 years ago with the available documents. And yoga is mentioned in Ayurveda, which means that yoga has been already there for many thousands of years before Ayurveda was codified. So when we are talking about the topic, if you look at it, a yogic diet, which means a diet which is good for the body and the mind. If you look at all the yogic diet, they explain something like a stem from the idea that food is life force. Food should contain life force. Food should have the prana, which sustains both the body and the mind. When Ayurveda talk about this life force of prana, Ayurveda says fresh food which is cooked within 3 to 4 hours contain prana. Any food you take it, even if the best of nutrition is there in the food, if it is taken within 4 hours, after that, the prana is lost. That's why old food is not recommended. And when you reheat also, that also is not recommended. That's why punarushni kridam nappibe, that is one of the theory when it comes to Ayurveda. Reheated things should be avoided, which is not good for the body and the mind. Now here you have to understand, Ayurveda explains so much about body. Yoga explains body, mind, and the spirit. So sometimes when you take a food which is reheated, doesn't give anything, the nutrition value, if you take it, if you do a research on that food particles, yes, it is there. The nutritional value is still there. But it may not give you anything for the mind. Now, whatever we eat should be good for the body and the mind. Now the question is whether the food which you take also has something to do with the mind. Yes. For an example, suppose you take a glass of wine. And does make any difference in your mind? You feel a little more relaxed. You feel a little more, right? So you have taken a food, a drink, which is a physical thing, but after taking 2-3 pecks, you feel, nice. It has an influence on the mind. The same way, whatever the food you take, it is absorbed into every cell of your body, and the mind also is a substance which is there within your body. So it has to be good for the body and the mind. And that is what this clearly say, yogic diet is based on the yoga principles of purity, sattva, non-violence. It believes it has to be balanced and it should not be hurting anything in this world. Yogis advocate or vegetarian is one of the basic principles not to harm any living creature. It consists of food with sattvic qualities, which increase energy and create a balance in the body. That means just increasing energy, you can find it in any food, but it has to increase the energy and also should help you to balance the body and mind. So that I will come back to that again. But second thing is that you should be conscious when you eat. Listen to the needs of your body, adjusting food choices accordingly, rather than following a restrictive plan that could eventually make you unwell. So you should be eating the food, that means you should adjust according to your need. If you don't feel hungry, don't eat. If you're a person who basically have only physical activities are less, or your mental activities are more, depends upon what your body needs. Select the food. accordingly. Mindfulness is not only an essential tool in yoga practice, it's also very important at meal times. Be mindful, be present when you eat. Try not to think about any other thing, just completely be present when you eat. The food choices should be tailor made to support you. Important basic factors to take into consideration are lifestyle, health, and age. That means you should know if you're healthy, if you feel hungry, are you old, are you a child, are you sick, do you sleep early, do you wake up, do you exercise? If you have these parameters taken care, then you eat. Just don't, because you may be sleeping by 2 o'clock, you may not be exercising, you may not be waking up early, you're already having some diabetes, then you have some other problem, you're already old, and you want to take 5 meals a day, that is unhealthy. So it depends upon your need. The diet should come from a conscious, self-reflective look at how your eating habits affect your body, mind, and soul. You should also understand that when you're eating, you should be conscious about what you're eating. You should know this is what I like, this is good for me, or this is not good for me. Suppose you have a diabetes condition, and if you are going to order a cheesecake and so much of sugar in that, you know that it's not healthy for you. Your mind and the body and the 72 trillion cells of your body will warn you and say, please don't eat. But you still say, I like it. That means you're not conscious about it. By eating consciously, you quickly become aware of how your choices affect you. Sometimes you can feel these effects straight after a meal and sometimes the next day. They think indigestion, bloating, fatigue, constipation, and so on. So just understand it. If I eat it, my sugar is going to go up. I'm going to get constipated. I'm going to feel tired. I'm going to wake up too many times to pass urine. In the morning, there will be swelling in my legs. Doctor already warned me not to take, so be conscious about it. So, how can we make it this yogic food a little more clearer? Yoga says a pure diet should be carefully planned. It should give you optimum health and a peaceful mind, which controls and which is for the fitness of you. And they say sattvic qualities, like I was mentioning. Sattvic foods are pure and life giving, and they promote health, vitality, strength, and relaxation. It makes you think positively, it makes you feel positively, it makes you feel more stronger mentally and physically. And these fruit include fresh fruits and juices, vegetables and herbs, honey, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and should be organically grown, locally sourced wherever possible. So because you find something which is so looking so nice, and sometimes it may be like, for an example, the grapes, nowadays there are 4 or 5 kinds of grapes are coming which contain no seeds at all. It may taste so nice, we advise a grape has to contain the seed. A guava should contain the seed, which is more healthy than taking the seedless things, which is unhealthy. So, organically grown, locally available. The rambutan and lychee and mangosteen and durian, these are the fruits which will be more suitable for the people who live here, rather than bringing something which is costly because it looks nicer. These foods are easily to digest, eating slowly, chewing well, and savoring each bite is considered. Eat slowly, chew well, make sure the salivary juices are properly mixed into it. Rajasic and tamasic foods are the other branches. It has a low vibration or a life force. It's not that it doesn't have the life force, but it is lesser than the sattvic food. Sattvic food makes you, give you a positive thought process, a rational thinking. Rajasic foods are overstimulate and promotes excess energy. Rajasic is coming number 2. It gives you excess energy, overstimulate you. What happens when it overstimulates you? It react very fast. And you may burn your calories a lot. They cause sleeplessness. But what happened? Overactivate. You may not sleep. It may create an anger within you. Hyperactivity, restlessness of the mind. This includes meat, fish, coffee, black tea, sweets, chocolate, food additives, coloring, some spice and eggs, and are spicy, sour, bitter, dry, and salty. Considered. And even eating hurry is considered rajasic. eating so fast. A tamasic food benefits neither the mind nor the body. Remember, it's not good for the body. Earlier one, the second one was good for the body, but it is hyperactive. Tamasic is not good for the body. This group includes stale, over-cultivated, packaged, preserved, deep-fried. Tamasic food can be difficult to digest and make you feel bloated and encourage lethargy. The body's immune system is compromised. Overeating is also considered tamasic. Understand overcooked, over preserved, old food, reheated substances. It is good, but the problem is it gives you a tamasic mind. Means what? It makes you weak. It makes you, your enthusiasm is not there. Suppose you're supposed to wake up in the morning around 6 o'clock and you're supposed to exercise, then you should pray. Then after that, you want to start your breakfast and you just don't feel like doing anything. You'll try what excuse I can give to avoid not to go for the work. Even if you go to the office, if any mistake happens, you will think, how can I blame somebody for this mistake? Or even if you just feel like you're supposed to finish the work in that particular hour, you just feel, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. These kind of qualities comes when you eat overheated. So that is called a kind of an inertia. So Yoga and Ayurveda categories everything in the universe as being made up of three different gunas, which is the mind, Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. Rajas is the property of motion. The Rajas tend to be stimulating, even agitating. Onions, garlic, red pepper, and coffee are a few examples. Tamas is the property of inertia. Tamasic food tends to be heavy, stale, or low nutritional value, even though you think it's high nutritional, actually no, and can induce allergy. Even the latest research has been shown when you reheat and keep on doing this using the same oils, the same food, it can even lead to cancer. From a yogic perspective, they lack prana or vital energy. Fast food, junk food, or something that's been sitting in the fridge for a week are all considered tamasic. Sattva is balanced. Sattvic foods are pure, fresh, high in vitamins. Think of fresh fruit or a plate of steamed organic greens. Ayurveda characterizes food based on their taste and makes dietary recommendation based on how foods with different tastes affects people or different constitutions. So the 8 dietetic rules which Ayurveda says are, when you want to plan a diet, of course it has to be sattvic, but how to make sure it is sattvic? How to make sure that whatever I eat, the first thing is that understand the quality of food, whatever you eat. Make sure that you know what you eat. If you're eating a cheese cake, or if you're eating a piece of parota, or if you're taking a chapati, or if you're taking a fried rice, or if you're taking nuggets, you're eating anything, understand how it is made. What is this food going to give me? Does it suit me or not? Understand the natural code. So don't eat unnecessarily unless you know. Once you know, understand whether it suits me or not. So understand the natural quality of the food. Second, karana, how it is processed. Is it deep fried? Is it steamed? Or is it cooked? Is it grilled? Is it roasted? Is a lot of processing is done. Or microwaved. Understand cooked in the fire. It makes a huge difference when you cook. Of course, it's not be possible to use the wood cooking and all like last time, but at least make sure the food, but it's possible to make sure the food is cooked in the process, which is like, when you put the rice into a pot and put water and cook and take it, it's more suitable, and the water is drained out. Imagine you cook in a pressure cooker. You will just take a simple cooking of rice, which you're cooking in the pressure, and understand it. How? You can see that it is the water which is supposed to be drained from the rice. That means the starch is already within the rice. It's heavy. Otherwise, we drained out. So that is the difference. So you may think, okay, I'm just drinking only small, but it's already heavy with that. Imagine you add some rice, some oil into it, and then you deep grill it, or you do something in a form where it is cooked in a different way. So it becomes heavy. So understand how the food is processed. The more things you add, the more conventionally you try to make it faster, the quality is different. Samyoga, the combination of the food substance. Certain food is not supposed to be mixed. Like if you're a vegetarian, you can have yogurt, but not every day. Strictly not at night. And yogurt should not be mixed with any non-vegetarian food because that combination is not healthy. We call it asatmya. It's not healthy because that asatmya, it doesn't combine or it's not suitable for the system. So if you're a vegetarian, you can have yogurt, but in small quantity, not every day, never take at night. Yogurt should never be mixed or cooked with hot substances. That means if you have a rice, don't add, which is really hot, and you put yogurt into it and make it cool, don't do that. That means yogurt should be mixed with a normal temperature, never mixed with hot things in texture as well as the quality. And yogurt should never be mixed with leafy vegetables, spinach and all, try to not to take. And also, if you are a non-vegetarian, avoid milk and milk products and yogurt. If you are a non-vegetarian, avoid milk products because it's incompatible. And also quantity, Rashi. How much quantity you take? If you divide your stomach into 4 parts, 1 part solid food, whatever you want, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, doesn't matter. 1 part water, 1 part leave it empty. So 2 parts food, solid food, 1 part water, 1 part leave it empty. That means only half the stomach you need to eat. That's enough for us. And 2 meals a day is good enough actually. No need to take 4 meals or even maximum 3 meals itself is too much. So 2 meals a day. Have a late lunch, like brunch, 11:30 or 12 like that. Second meal by 6. This itself is good enough to make you healthy. So don't eat a lot. Don't eat late at night. Don't eat very early. Desha, where the food is cultivated is very important. Sometimes when you're actually having a food, you should just try to have maximum things which is available locally. Try to avoid things from outside because the earth, the environment, all those things matters a lot. The time of taking food, which also matters, like I was explaining. A person who is sick, if you have some healthy issues, if you don't feel hungry, don't eat, wait. If you feel hungry, take a really small quantity. And don't eat very early, don't eat very late. Try to have it, because presence of sun and our system is directly mutually connected. When there is sun, eat, but still don't very early. Lunchtime, our sun is so powerful, we also have a strong digestive fire. Ubyoga Vyavastha, which is a very important chapter, I'll explain that. And Boyokta, the person who comes with the food. So this is the manner of taking food, which is the Ubyoga Vyavastha, never take without shower. And also other meaning is don't take food and have a shower. Without putting any clothes, without repeating some prayers, without offering to invited and invited, uninvited. If there is somebody in your home, whether he's invited or not, ask him whether you have food or not. Food should not be taken very late in the evening or very early in the morning in an open place, in sunlight, in darkness, under a tree lying in bed. All these things are not healthy. In a vessel which is broken, not covered, not clean, which is understandable. You should be taken your food with your own hand. That's the best. A lot of healthy bacteria are there. At a suitable place and time, after cleaning one's face and mouth very well, that you avoid infections. Food should be cooked and served with love. Should not be contaminated with hair flies. Should never abuse the food you take. Even the food is not properly cooked, don't abuse it and say why it's so spicy, why it's so salty, why it's cooked, it's not tasty. Don't complain because your mind needs positive response from you. You should abstain from taking food used by others. Should avoid the food which has been made hot for the second time, which I was explaining. So these things, if you could incorporate when you practice yoga, it makes a huge difference in your physical and mental fitness. So conclusion, food plays an important role in the yoga practice. Principle of Ayurveda helps to balance the diet effectively in holistic way. Thank you for listening. Thank you. So stop sharing. Is it?
Did you stop recording already?
I stopped recording, now stop sharing.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, not yet. I can stop recording.